This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell.
Believe that.
Presented by PWFempire.com with your hosts, Charlie Feast, Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on PWFempire.com. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. I am Jay, and I'm joined on the hosting panel tonight by two, I don't even know what to call you guys, because I was made privy to some very shocking information before the show. I am the only one on this hosting panel that has seen Avengers Age of Ultron, and I don't even know what to say. Like, yeah, I guess Charlie, he's there.
Hey.
And Evan.
Batman's better.
That he is. That he really is, you know. And I haven't seen the other ones for reference, but I'm just going to assume because I'm going to pull the Justin role here because I don't really want to watch the other ones. So I'm just going to play Justin and just assume things.
See, I don't even know how Batman made the break for you because you guys need to know Charlie, he has some unexplained hatred for all things superhero. Like, he's
hatred,
a big fan.
I just don't give a shit.
He's a big fan of Jennifer Lawrence, and he would rather try to watch Silver Linings Playbook than friggin' X-Men. I don't understand that. How does that work?
Silver Linings Playbook is just too long. I haven't been able to make time for it.
But at least you tried. You haven't. Have you tried to watch X-Men First Class?
No, because I'm going to assume it sucks. I don't have any interest in X-Men.
You know what?
It's a dude with giant. I could watch Edward Scissorhands. It's the same thing.
A dude. There are many of them.
Yeah, there's him and Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Oh, God. You know what? Let's get on the subject of professional wrestling, because this is, I don't even know what this is.
Because we do all watch that. That is something we do all watch. In fact, we all enjoyed what was probably the best Raw of the year thus far, so let's get right down to business.
Yeah, I will say that was definitely an enjoyable episode of Monday Night Raw, and we would love if you guys let us know what you thought about Raw and all of the topics that we will be discussing tonight. We got a great show planned for you guys. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Payback main event and the Hounds of Payback. Also, we have another pro wrestling showcase coming up, this time on New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have some news on the PWF Empire front, and this is some pretty big news. It's going to be an update on one hand about what we discussed last week, and a very important show that we will be having in the very near future that I hope you guys are anticipating. Well, when you actually know what the hell it is.
It's so good they're anticipating it right now. They don't even
Yes,
know.
I don't even know what it is, but I can just sense that it's awesome.
Shit's about to go down.
Yeah, I can tell you it is awesome. But yeah, we have some news on TNA as well, and we have the debut. We have the debut of a brand new segment that you guys are going to be getting at the bookend of the show. But for now, we are going to start with Monday Night Raw and the main event for Payback. We have a new change to this match. It is now going to be a fatal four-way. This match is going to have Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Randy Orton is in there too. Yeah. You almost had it, WWE. Almost. Like,
I still get the feeling, I don't know if anybody else felt this, if Roman Reigns was actually world champion right now, like as plans might have been originally been, would you think that Randy might not be involved in this scenario? That, you know,
yeah, I have to believe that he wouldn't be there.
Because it seems like they had the whole idea of Payback set up, and part of me is kind of looking at this like maybe this was supposed to go a completely different direction. But they like throw Randy Orton there like, you're this close. And it's definitely interesting. And as far as everything went, I enjoyed everything that involved these four guys on Raw. I thought the opening promo was great. I thought Randy and Roman had, you know, really good chemistry on the mic. I thought Randy, I don't know what the hell got into Randy Orton, but he was just loving life on Monday. Like, he came out like, fuck it, I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a hell of a time. Like,
he was even bobbing his head to New Day's music. I was like, okay.
I love this. I love this new Orton. This is great. This is
I'm telling you, I don't know what the hell happened on that film set, but whatever happened, whoever did it to him, Thank you.
Randy just has like a
Bounty.
never-ending supply of energy now when he's on the mic, and it's like, wow, this is so refreshing.
I love that when Big E said Seth Rollins doesn't just have your number, he's got it on speed dial, and this is the worst joke ever, and Randy like sells it like $1 million. He like whips his head around like mother. And the whole opening segment was fantastic. Everything that involved the world title picture I really enjoyed. There's always that wet blanket of Dean Ambrose getting involved because he's not necessarily at the level, but on a B show, and he's still over. We talk about the Dean Ambrose get out of jail free card. The fans are going to play it, and I think here the company played it. The company might have played the get out of jail free card because he's still over. They had a storyline that made sense, and they used it to inject him into the match. And I was actually, by the end of the night, I was somewhat fine with it. There are still issues that I have that maybe we'll get to a little bit later.
So what happened on Monday Night Raw was we had Kane set up a match between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose where Kane said if Dean Ambrose wins this match, then he's going to be added to the Payback main event. And of course, as we see now, it's a fatal four-way, so Dean Ambrose won that match. And what was so funny about the backstage segment where Kane was explaining his actions, he got it picked up off of what we were talking about on the show last week when people were like, hell, you want to add more people to the match? Of course we're going to want to see that. Kane was like, why don't we add 9 people, huh? How do you like that? The crowd was like, yeah, bring it on.
They picked up off of that and pinning we also said, why wouldn't Roman Reigns just say, motherfucker, I pinned you, I should get a shot at the goddamn title? Well, they picked up off of that, and they gave Dean Ambrose a shot because he pinned the champion.
Yeah, that literally is the reason why he's in the match, because he pinned the champion.
So
and it happened on Raw.
This was Make PWF Empire Live Happy Week. I appreciate it, WWE. Thank you.
Yes. They want to send you out on a high note, Charlie.
This was that whole match between Ambrose and Rollins was just as good as you could ask for. I mean, there was like a story. You were emotionally invested into something that kind of just got thrown into your lap. So that right there, they deserve some credit for. And yeah, like Charlie was saying, he isn't really at the level, but I mean, honestly, that get out of jail free card, I'm going to use it too. Whatever, man. Like, this was awesome. Like, we can't just sit there and pretend that, he's not at the level, so this was dumb. Like, no, this was great. This was something cool, and it was different. And honestly, the way that they started off with Ambrose having a bunch of momentum, it made me feel like, oh, no, now Rollins is just going to win, and then there you go. And so for Ambrose to win the match still kind of got me to jump up and be like, wow, man, he actually won, and he's actually going to be part of it. So it's pretty exciting.
I honestly had no idea that Dean Ambrose was going to win. And that came as a complete shock to me. I thought that was just like a BS way to throw out something, not even necessarily like BS, because it was a great match. And of course, you're going to get that anytime you get Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, knowing all of the history that they have with each other in WWE. But I was thinking that this was just a way for Kane to keep pressing Seth Rollins, putting that pressure on him and saying, okay, you better get your act right, because if you don't, here's what could happen. But what could happen actually did happen, and I was like, well, alrighty then. I did not know they were going there.
Very refreshing. I thought this was a great match, great segment, great setup. Even though it was thrown in our laps, I still thought it was really cool, and makes me look a lot more forward to that main event. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it makes you just kind of hate the end of Hell in a Cell 2014 that much more. Like, you see this match and you're like, god damn it, can I just not get a goddamn resolution to this feud? Like, can we just, like, I don't even care if he's got to drop the belt to Orton to get this goddamn resolution. Like, I want to see these two fuckers beat the shit out of each other and get my goddamn resolution.
Well, alrighty, guys, we'll be talking about Dean Ambrose and his place in the main event of Payback a little bit later, but for now, we're going to switch gears over to our Pro Wrestling Showcase for the week. This is going to be PWF Empire presents New Japan Pro Wrestling. As the title indicates, Japan. This is a Japanese wrestling promotion, and they recently came over to the United States, and they provided a pay-per-view, actually their biggest show of the year, Wrestle Kingdom, and it was... the commentators for that show were Matt Stryker and good old JR. And now I guess we'll talk about that a little later, but they are starting to get exposure in the United States. And I think that they present a very interesting wrestling product. So we wanted to bring this to you guys, for the people who actually do watch New Japan, and also for the people who may not watch New Japan. Just as we did last week with Lucha Underground, we're going to present it in a way where this is going to be your introduction to New Japan. And hopefully after we get all of our little comments out, you'll say, okay, let me check out New Japan. So let's go ahead and get started with our first question. Charlie, once again, I'm going to be playing off of you in this segment. What is New Japan Pro Wrestling?
New Japan is probably, in my opinion, the best promotion you can watch at this moment. They've got something for everybody there. It's a mixture of different characters and a sport-like feel, which is a great setting. I love the sport-like feel atmosphere, and that's something New Japan really brings. So that's the best way to describe it for me, is it's wrestling in its sport form, would be what I would say.
What is New Japan's signature style?
It's called Japanese Strong Style. It's based in a lot of kicks, strikes, submission wrestling, a lot of technical. It's very hard-hitting suplexes. Just very hard-hitting, in-your-face, big action, but also a slower little bit of pace to it. It doesn't come at you 150 miles an hour like some styles here in the U.S. do. It kind of allows you to tell a story, hitting hard, hitting kind of not as often, but when you do hit, it's ooh and ah, and it's a lot of just great matches together with it.
Now, this next question, I'm going to attempt to answer this myself, and also I want to get your feedback, of course, Charlie, and Evan, if you have anything to add. Why should you watch New Japan Pro Wrestling? One of the things that I think that's great about New Japan is how they've structured their card. Like, it's as if you would watch their show and you're watching 3 different wrestling promotions, because they have, like, the top of the card, or I'll say, like, the start of the show, they feature multiple man matches, like tag team matches. Sometimes they have, like, 8-man tag team matches, and you have these people bouncing all across the damn ring like pinballs, a lot of high-flying action, a lot of innovative moves. I know Charlie, he's a big fan of the Young Bucks. They're heavily featured in New Japan, and a lot of other great tag teams there. I
saw Finn Balor throw up a too sweet to a guy in a Bullet Club shirt on NXT. I got you, Finn. I got you.
Yes, and you have the next portion of the card where you have, like, brawls. And I'm basing this all off of the Wrestle Kingdom show that I was telling you guys about. That's their biggest show of the year. They had a section in the card where they had these guys going out there, and it wasn't about weapons or anything like that. These guys are going out there knocking the hell out of each other. And it had a very simplistic way of booking, to where it didn't even feature that many high spots. It's just guys going out there wanting to kick the other's ass and prove their dominance in that way. And then the cream of the crop, the main event scene in New Japan Pro Wrestling, it is awe-inspiring. I've never seen a main event match from New Japan, and maybe this is because I haven't watched that many shows, but for the shows that I have watched, I've loved every single match that I've seen there. And it's just, I don't even know how to put it into words and describe it in a way that does it justice, but they take you on a roller coaster ride. It's like a magical roller coaster ride in the way that they tell their stories and the way that they incorporate those stories into their actions. And the way that their matches are booked is you have things like drop kicks and clotheslines serving as high spots in matches, and the crowd goes wild for things like that. And I say that they have, like, the best of the sports entertainment feel. Like, WWE, it's not just about going out there and doing a match. It's about telling a story. And I believe that New Japan, they've picked up off of that, but they've found a way to still take you to those highs, but, like, there's a certain simplicity in the way that it's booked, and that's not denigrating at all. That's actually an amazing thing that they've, like, an amazing dichotomy that they have there. And I think that it's awesome.
Yeah, for me, I think depth of card is a huge thing, because they have legitimately 2 titles that they main event shows with. They got the world title and the IWGP Intercontinental title, which actually just changed hands the last show. But
God damn.
It's basically they can main event with either of those 2, and it totally allows them to do so much better things than WWE. We always say, like, what can they do with the Intercontinental title? Well, New Japan has taken the best of 2 titles, and because they run shows, and they'll run like a night 1, night 2, or part 1, part 2 kind of thing. They'll have one big show that's world title, next show based around the Intercontinental title, and what they provided is a situation where they can main event any show, anytime, with one of 2 titles. I also love the sport-like feel, because they get away from just the entertainment like the entertainment side a little bit, and it allows you to actually see where wins and losses matter. It's a world where wins and losses matter, which means a lot to me. And watching the WWE and seeing this every week, a win not matter, and the guy will lose on Raw and come out and taunt John Cena as someone who can't be beaten on SmackDown, and it's like, what are we doing here? And in New Japan, Okada loses in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 9.
He cried.
He was that, but his next feud, he's starting the Bullet Club, working his way back up. So it's like, everything kind of means something, and that's something that I think, draws a lot of people in.
I think that's a really big ode to the respect of what professional wrestling really is. So I think that's just flat out amazing. And then the other reason to watch is motherfucking Styles. Let's not forget that that man. If there is no other reason to watch, it is AJ Styles. And those motherfuckings were very necessary to put in between.
There's no motherfucker that can motherfucking work in the motherfucking ring like AJ motherfucking Styles.
Absolutely. The number one...
Now, see, this would be the perfect place to use a watch the language joke, but none of you guys would get it.
I get it now. Cause
after we put you through torture.
Yeah, but yeah, he's definitely, in 2015, there's nobody better than AJ Styles in the ring. So he's there, you got just something for everyone. Tag team, 6-man tag, cruiserweight, technical wrestlers, brawlers, everything you could ever want. Even if you only like one thing, you'll still be able to find that one thing on the card.
Anything that could possibly deter someone from watching. Now, we have to go ahead and address the elephant in the room.
There's the obvious one.
Yes.
It's in Japanese.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Japanese part, which is very important, but the main show, it's in Japanese, and I'm the type of person, I need to know what the story is for me to be invested in something, because I don't just watch wrestling for wrestling. I watch wrestling for a story, and you can tell a story through the wrestling, but sometimes you need that narrative to help guide you along in the process. So I understand why some people New Japan may not be your thing, because it is in Japanese, but I was so glad that I got the opportunity to watch Wrestle Kingdom with JR and Matt Stryker as the commentators, and through that, I got a sense of who these people are, and I continued on from that point.
Yeah, for me, the language barrier is nothing. I think that the storylines, they don't ever reach a point where you need a big explanation, and not for nothing, if you're watching WWE, you're not getting that explanation from the fucking English commentators on that show anyway, so what the fuck are you all pissed off about the commentary team for? So that's number one. Number two, it just doesn't hit that moment where you really need that explanation. It's a lot of guys who are very sport-like, and if you kind of can get a sense of the history, maybe you see a match and you Google it and you can see kind of their previous matches, and you can kind of get really where they're going, and the Bullet Club is pretty straightforward. A lot of stuff's easy enough to understand, as well as I've watched Wrestle Kingdom 4 times since it aired, and the only time I watched it in English was when I watched it live, because you might as well watch it with the English commentary. But the 3 times I've gone back and rewatched it, I've watched it in Japanese. I think it's better. So I think it gives you a better feel of the show, and there's an authenticity and excitement about the Japanese commentary that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and picking up off of what Charlie said, you'll never get to a point where you have those storylines where you really need that explanation, but I do understand if you need that narrative. But I would say give it a look, and if that is something that you can't get over, then, what can you really say about that? All I'll say is at one point, I thought I couldn't get over it either, but I started to watch, and this isn't, disrespectful of me to say that I tune out the commentary, but it's just, I focus on the action, because with their shows, you're not even going to get, many promos or anything like that. They move at a breakneck speed. It's one match is over with, okay, we're taking a few seconds, then we're going to move to the next one, and it just moves like clockwork.
And God forbid you don't have, the English commentary like you have in WWE bickering and not talking about the match and explaining nothing at the end of the day. God forbid you don't have that, but can't not have English commentary. How
but
you
it
survive.
is important though, Charlie. It is.
It adds nothing to the show. In fact, people hate it on a weekly basis. It annoys me when people are like, I want to mute Raw's commentary team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it's not disrespectful to say that you tune out the commentary on a Japanese show because you're going to tune out the commentary on the English Raw show because that commentary is bad enough to that point. So, I mean, I do think that more people may be more likened to it because, I can understand the story a little better. Maybe more people would be, but I don't think that ultimately that's what's going to make people stay. So it might make more people get tuned into it in the first place, though. So it would help to have a little more of an English commentary stability with that.
Alrighty, and next up, we touched on this a bit already. Top stars in New Japan. One of them would be AJ Styles. I know my personal favorite is Shinsuke Nakamura. I guess he was the former IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, currently that's now Hiroki Goto.
And, of course, Hiroshi, Tanahashi, Okada. They're like cream of the crop right there.
They are not even human because they're so good.
Seriously. Okay, some of the greatest hits for New Japan.
I went pretty recent just because it would give you the best feel of the current guys and top stars. So I would say last year's G1 final, the tournament to determine who gets the shot at Wrestle Kingdom. Nakamura and Okada, two of the three top stars going at it, and they legitimately, told a great story, great match in the final, and that to me was the best match of the year last year, probably competing with Suzuki and AJ Styles, but that to me is probably my favorite match of the year last year. Just really good. And you also have Tanahashi and Okada from the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 9. Great story there. Again, we talked about how Okada, the disappointment and, the whole story of Tanahashi being the guy and Okada being the prodigy and, those two kind of coming together again. And whenever they come together, it's always fantastic. And before that was Nakamura versus Ibushi in Wrestle Kingdom 9 for the Intercontinental title. Once again, yes. Fantastic story. Young guy trying to capture the Intercontinental title and prove himself against the veteran top star who just doesn't think that the guy can hang, and he comes in, great showing, and unbelievable story. I mean, that could build to something later this year. Those are pretty much my three that if you want to get into it, those are the three you gotta watch.
Final question: how and when do we watch New Japan? I know that they have NJPWWorld.com, I believe it is, and that's basically their version of the WWE Network. It isn't even $9.99 because when you do the conversion,
it's technically 9.99 yen, but I think it works out to like what, $8.30-something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, you can access that, and you have every single New Japan event that they have to offer, and they do update in real time, I believe, and you can check out those events. That's what I do, and I believe that they have a show in America too where they actually do have English commentators, but they show old matches on the show. Yeah,
it's on AXS Friday nights, I believe it's 9. And there's obviously other ways to watch that show if you don't have access. But the show is designed to give you introductions and give you, really introduce you to it. They started with the first season is Okada and Tanahashi and their rivalry. The next season is going to be the 2014 G1 tournament, which was the best fucking tournament of all time. So what they do is completely in English, translated. You get promos from the guys translated, so you get to a point where you're going to be able to introduce yourself to these guys, and it's a great use of this show. I love this show. It's great. You see, you've seen Prince Devitt versus Okada. I think I was on there. AJ Styles and Okada, Tanahashi Okada. Fully English commentary, English everything. They translate everything. Introductions, great stuff. And they also have upcoming. They're going to be over here for the Ring of Honor shows. They got 4 of those: 2 in Toronto, 2 in Philadelphia. I'll actually be missing next week's show because I will be in Philadelphia for these events. They're doing, I think, 1 at VOD, 1 at iPay-per-view, 1 something else, and I think it's 2 TV tapings. Some I don't necessarily know the order, but follow ROH and for those, and you can see them mixed in with the ROH talent. There's a lot of great matchups on there that could be seen. So there are ways to catch this company, and it's pretty easy in this internet day and age to find ways to watch. And for the ones saying that they didn't have a match of the year nominated at the W's, wait till December. Okay, wait till December.
Well, alrighty, that was our presentation of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, we think the show is definitely worth watching. Now,
and if you don't, it's your loss, not our.
Now it's your time to be
I'm not
the judge.
even up for debate. If you don't want to watch, then go to hell. Your loss.
Alrighty then, and now we're gonna move over to PWFEmpire.com, where you all are right now. And we have some news on the PWF Empire front that I'm going to discuss right now. On PWFEmpire.com, we have a column that was posted recently. It's celebrating the awesomeness of Lay Cool, and I think that this is... Don't do that. See, did you read the column?
No, I'm not going to read the column.
You need to.
I'm not reading the column.
You need to. See, this is the thing. People, they don't give Lay Cool the credit that they truly deserve, because they were the last really great, entertaining act from the Divas division. And honestly, the Divas division...
that says a hell of a lot more about the Divas division than it does them.
No, because the start of the decline of the Divas division, it was... like the catalyst for that was Michelle McCool leaving WWE, and that speaks volumes.
And how the Divas division has never been good, and all that bullshit that we went through.
They were entertaining, okay?
Didn't Lay Cool get beat by Mae Young though?
You know what?
Yeah.
You read the column too, Evan.
But Mae Young called them sluts, and that was hilarious.
Yes, it was.
Piggy James, distasteful storyline.
Piggy James.
Bad acting from Michelle McCool. Oh, it was all great, all fantastic.
Read the column, and next week on the show, we'll see how
those
your
were the
attitudes have
days.
changed.
I'm not going to be here next week, so my attitude won't be changed.
No, it'll be changed, but you'll just be too ashamed to admit it on the show. That's why you won't show up. Never mind the fact that you mentioned you were going to the New Japan show before we started talking about it. But that we don't need to talk about that. But something else that you guys can check out on PWFEmpire.com, the last episode of Pro Wrestling Talk Radio. This featured a loser leaves PWTR debate between Justin and David. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, so you got to go ahead and check out that episode if you like. And this is like legit. It's serious, okay? This isn't some gimmicky BS like the
and we've made sure that the person that lost is going to go do the Ric Flair thing, go blade job in TNA. We've got that all in writing. So
yeah, that's because he was leaving TNA, but I digress. Okay, so
I got it. Oh Jesus, that was good. Oh man.
Okay, next up, as was announced on the last episode of the show, Charlie will be leaving PWF Empire Live within the next few weeks. And if you follow PWF Empire with any kind of regularity over the last few years, it goes without saying how much of a huge loss this is for the show, and that underscores the importance of what it is that I'm about to say right now. We need to find the perfect person to fill that void on PWF Empire Live. Now, besides me, Charlie is the longest serving host in PWTR history, and he's also the co-creator of PWF Empire Live, and you can trace those origins all the way back to him starting out as a viewer. So he went from a viewer to a co-host. Viewer to co-host.
And best friend.
But for the purpose of this conversation, like that spot is filled already. You guys ain't got to worry about that one. But viewer to co-host. Hopefully you guys get where I'm coming from, because this is where you come into play. The question that you need to be asking yourself right now is, are you tough enough for PWF Empire Live? If you answer no, I'm not talking to you. This isn't for you. If you answer, yeah, I think I'm tough enough, then guess what? This ain't for you either. However, if you answered the question, are you tough enough for PWF Empire Live with a resounding hell yeah, then you're the exact type of person that we're looking for. And what we need from you is dedication, passion, and of course, a love for professional wrestling. And if that is something that interests you, you being a part of this experience for PWF Empire Live, all you have to do is head over to pwfempire.com/empire. pwfempire.com/empire and fill out the little questionnaire there. All we need from you is a little basic information and you explaining to us why you believe you're tough enough to join PWF Empire Live.
Yes, love of pro wrestling is pretty important because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this is a pro wrestling based show. We do talk a lot about pro wrestling, so
yes,
it's
a little important.
It's my contribution to the make sure we do talk about wrestling.
Yeah. But see, honestly though, I had to say that because some people, they just use stuff like this as an opportunity to just rant and talk shit. Like, my whole saying is criticize when necessary, but give credit where credit is due. If you don't have that credit where credit is due part,
and this is why I'm on the show, because we literally have the exact same mindset, and we all, the three of us here, it's not, again, we all have differing opinions on the same things, but we're all not afraid to criticize or give credit, and that's basically the best type of fan that you can be. And I think this whole experience is a blast. I mean, again, I've only been here for a few months, but I love doing this, and I think that you definitely want to have some fun. Just have a good time.
Yes.
Don't sit here and be like, fuck everything. Just have some fun, have a sense of humor, and just be yourself, And
you get to meet Jay.
Yeah, who doesn't want that?
And speaking of which, this is how on the same page we are, because we did not plan this at all. As you can see here, Jay's wearing his Steph shirt. I am wearing my brand new Ronda Rousey shirt, unbeaten, #14 seconds. So, we are...
Okay.
We are on the same page, same frame of mind here. So that's the type of stuff you're going to be asked to do. And
you have to be on it, okay?
And Justin, you did not win the first ever technically the PWF Empire won, but technically, there were two people before me that won, but we don't pretend like that exists. So.
Okay, and the final announcement that we have, and of course, once again, pwfempire.com/empire. Go ahead, fill out that information if you are tough enough to join PWF Empire Live. And we have some other positions open for you guys as well. So if anything interests you at all, then welcome. Bring it on. Now, we're going to talk about this very special show that we have planned. As you guys know, in January, we did the split down the middle. PWF Empire Live on one side, PWTR on the other. Worlds will collide this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on PWFempire.com for a very special edition. This is so damn special that the show didn't even exist. We're creating a new special show called PWF Empire Anarchy. And what that is, anytime that you see that Anarchy title, that's going to be PWF Empire Live and PWTR coming together. And this show, its special name, because NXT TakeOver, and then they have their little name at the end. Our little special name for this show is End of an Era, because we have one of the longtime hosts of PWTR. He's leaving the show, and Charlie will be leaving PWF Empire Live very soon. So this is not going to be a show with, co-hosts. This is going to be a group of friends just getting on air and shooting the shit. We talk to each other every Sunday. The only difference is this time we're going to be turning the cameras on and giving you guys, I can't even necessarily say a peek behind the scenes. We're snatching the damn curtains down and we're burning them. You're going to get to see everything, and we're going to be, we're not going to be necessarily talking about wrestling. We're just going to be talking about the history of PWF Empire and all of the connections between us and all of that good stuff. And throughout the years, we've had some great times. We've had some, highs. We've had some lows, too. And we're going to be covering all of that on the show this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, pwfempire.com.
You might even call it shoot.
Yes. So if that doesn't entice you guys, I don't know what the hell will. But PWFempire.com, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. PWF Empire Anarchy, end of an era. This could possibly be the last time you see all of us on the on camera.
Gonna get a DVD release for this.
Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and get back to the news. We're gonna start off with our buy or sell segment. Sami Zayn. He's one of our favorites down in NXT. I actually, hell, not even just NXT. I voted him as Babyface of the Year in all of wrestling for 2014. He added up to my match of the year as well with Neville that took place at one of the NXT specials. So it goes without saying that I'm a huge Sami Zayn fan, and the fact that we were able to see him debut on Monday Night Raw in John Cena's US Open Challenge, I thought that it was amazing. And the way in which the moment was set up, it was just awe-inspiring. You had Bret Hart, a Canadian legend, living, breathing icon, come down to the ring, introduce Sami Zayn in his hometown, no less. And he competes in a match with the face of WWE for a championship on his very first match on the main show. And it was a perfect scenario, except for one little thing. He got injured. Not even during the match, during his entrance. So I don't know if you guys want to factor that into how you buy or sell this, but this is what we are presented with. Sami Zayn debuting on the main roster. Do you buy or sell that segment?
I buy the segment. As far as the lasting effect, I would say that I'm not going to sell it, but I'm going to start taking offers. Because, the segment was great. The whole thing was awesome. Number one, I'm not convinced that was an actual debut for him being on the roster. And number two, I'm not convinced that there's a lasting give a fuck from fans. This was the perfect place to do it, Montreal. They wanted it. They called it. They enjoyed it. But as far as the lasting effect of it, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to wait and see. Number one, if he's going to be there on Raw, or if this is even a debut, or if, the fans are going to be into him after this, how much. I've seen basically two sides. It's like people are like, oh, Sami Zayn got buried because he lost to John Cena. That's stupid.
Because he lost to John Cena. Say that sentence out loud and see how freaking ridiculous it is.
The same John Cena. The same John Cena that beats everybody. So, I mean...
you mean, is that the 15-time world champion John Cena?
Could it be?
I think so.
I don't know.
And then there's the other side of the coin, which is he was launched to some next level, and I don't buy that either. I'm pretty status quo with Sami Zayn. He was the same coming out as he was coming in. As far as the match, I thought the whole segment was great. And this isn't a knock, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this. This is probably... I've seen a ton of El Generico and Sami Zayn matches for 8 years now. This was probably the worst match he's ever had in his career. This match was, which isn't a bad thing because this was usually the best match on any Raw show. This level would be the best match on any other Raw show. It got kind of fucked in this show, but this match was underwhelming by Sami Zayn's standards. He was injured, not much you can do. I think even he said to a doctor as he was leaving, he even said it sucked. So there was that. So even he, I think, was a little disappointed. But the segment overall was fantastic. I'm just wondering, what the lasting effect of it will be.
Yep, I buy this, definitely. I thought it was really good, really fitting for where it was. And Sami Zayn, no doubt, if this is his worst match, then I can't really complain because it's still better than a lot of people's best matches. So as far as I'm concerned, it was still pretty solid considering everything involved here. So I definitely buy it, and I thought it was cool the way Bret Hart introed him. I thought that just added an extra touch to me. I thought that was great. And honestly, you shouldn't be surprised that John Cena beat him. You shouldn't be surprised for 1 second about that. That's okay. It was a way to feature who I believe can be, as Jay mentioned before, the top babyface in all of wrestling. I think that he exhibits all of the qualities of what it takes to be a babyface and has the underdog ability too, considering the lack of size. So you put all that together, and I think this guy is the next big baby face. But I'm not saying he's going to get there. I, in fact, wouldn't bet on it. But I still think he has everything it takes to be an amazing babyface no matter where he ends up in WWE over the course of his career. Anyway, to get back to this particular night, really good stuff. Really, really good.
Now, see, going back to something that Charlie said when he talked about how he didn't know if this was Sami Zayn's actual debut, meaning that he was moving up to the main roster permanently. I didn't get that sense either, but if it wasn't what WWE intended, I think they need to call this on the fly and actually make this his main roster debut. Now, he has business, very important business, crucial business that I need to see reach a resolution to down in NXT. And by the way, on that last episode of NXT that actually happened tonight, absolutely amazing sit-down interviews Michael Cole conducted with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, especially that Kevin Owens one. That was very tense, and he's just all around exudes awesomeness. But back to Sami Zayn. If they didn't plan on this being his debut on the roster, I think that it should, especially with how everything played out. Now, maybe they were just like, you know what? This is his hometown. We want to go ahead and give him that nod here. I'm hoping that they actually play up off of this in the situation that has been created, because even though it was a very unfortunate injury, it did play into the match and it played up the persona of Sami Zayn. He was trying to fight through it, and not that he necessarily needs an excuse to lose to John Cena, but that could possibly play into him being on the main roster, like that one shot that you got and here's what happens to you, that very unfortunate event. So I don't know. I'm going to buy it, though, because I think that the whole setup was amazing. I just hope that he's not seriously injured because, like I said, he has, of course, first off, because he's a friggin' human being and I don't want to see him injured. But secondly, very importantly, I need to see that match with him and Kevin Owens at this upcoming NXT show.
Yeah, that's the most anticipated match right now. So I definitely 100% agree with you there.
Excuse me, you clearly did not see the Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks segments this week.
But I will say one other cool thing from this segment was the way that John Cena did show the respect to Sami Zayn. I know that we see that enough now, but this was especially cool because it was the first match that he had really had with a full-time, WWE wrestler. This was kind of like that part that they had in the WWE 2K15 game with the NXT mode and on a couple of the systems, and they had the NXT guys could face John Cena on the big show. It was kind of like that played out, and so that I thought that added an extra layer to it too. So it was a big opportunity type of deal, and even though he lost the match, he still had a great performance. So it was really cool stuff, and the respect at the end just topped it off really well.
Well, everyone in the world probably thought that was a great outing for Sami Zayn, except for one person, and that one person is Kevin Owens. I want to go to his Twitter right now and read these tweets because it was the most hilarious thing that I've ever seen. One of the tweets was, and here it is, all of these WWE NXT dorks tweeting how proud they are of Sami Zayn should have their Twitter accounts suspended. I cannot express to you how much I love that guy. He's awesome. And his unabashed assholeness
is amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. Unbelievable.
He's just trying to provide for his family, guys.
Yeah. And he's doing an amazing job of that. Hell, I'll give him. I'll pay for the WWE Network to see him. So hopefully that money goes to a good use, and it seems as if it is. So kudos to you. Next up in Buy or Sell, we are going to discuss a little bit of TNA news. I don't even know what role he plays in this band. I don't even know a song from them, but yeah, the Smashing Pumpkins, one of their members, Billy Corgan, he actually has been affiliated with other wrestling promotions, but now the promotion that he's affiliated with is TNA. He's now a member of TNA's creative team, and he's actually doing some directing there. He's in a position of leadership there, and I wanted to go to a comment that he made in a recent interview that I found very interesting, and he's speaking about TNA here, of course, and what he hopes to bring to TNA. There is a tremendous opportunity to go into really fresh new directions. Having characters who explore race or transgendered issues certainly is a possibility, he suggested. There are ways to explore those themes in ways that are productive, create new stars, and show that value-based babyfaces, no matter what their background, no matter where they come from, can draw new audiences and inspire people in new ways. Is this something that you all are interested in? Do you like the...
No, 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 no.
So I'm guessing that you're selling this.
Sold.
Billy Corgan is the lead singer. I'll just drop that one down so we know
Are you
where
familiar
he
with
is.
the Smashing Pumpkins?
Yes, I actually like them Smashing Pumpkins. They got some good music. But I think one thing Billy Corgan I think that can bring, it's really cool, is that he does have the experience with being a performer and having that performer aspect. Maybe he has a good idea of what crowds are going to be into, and that does translate to professional wrestling because it's still a performance in the ring. So that's where I think Billy Corgan can be helpful for them. The transgender thing, I'm not even gonna touch that because I'm not offending people, and I think that may just be too big of an umbrella for pro wrestling here, but I'm not gonna just give up on what. Like, can I put this on layaway or something? Like, I don't want to flat out just sell it because I think Billy Corgan is actually a really smart individual, and I think that he could potentially do some good things for TNA. And I also say this because of the fact that he does have a huge love for professional wrestling, and like I said, the experience with being a performer, I believe, could play a nice role for him. Will that necessarily happen? Again, that's the layaway thing. I don't really know yet. Give me some time to think about this one, or let me see something that goes on before I actually really know what'll take place. But I believe Billy Corgan could potentially do some good things. He really loves the business, and with that said, I think that he could potentially do something nice. But I don't know. I guess we will see. He doesn't have any experience in terms of understanding necessarily the psychology or some of the big things, but maybe he can, provide an extra perspective in terms of the way that crowds react in the modern day, considering he still does perform with the Smashing Pumpkins.
This one is kind of tough because some of the things that he's talked about, they sound very interesting, and I guess simply based off of that, I have to buy this because it has me interested in TNA and how exactly this is going to turn out, but that's not necessarily saying that I'm excited about it. It's just like I have to see this just to see if this is going to be some new revolution in pro wrestling or if this is going to go down in flames, in a blaze of not glory but despair and destruction. Because what he's saying here, it sounds very hard to comprehend or at least understand from the perspective of a pro wrestling audience, especially knowing what the modern day pro wrestling audience is in the United States. I don't know if creating these teachable moments in wrestling is going to have the effect that you would like it to, but the fact that you're talking about diversity, I think that that's amazing. It's just that, is the crowd going to be receptive of that? Are you going to find a way to make that entertaining and not come off as if you're beating people over the head with it, saying, hey, this is a new world, you have to accept it? I think, not being tolerant of stuff like that, I think it's ignorant, but just like from an entertainment perspective, knowing the demographic that wrestling reaches, let's go ahead and call a spade a spade. It's kind of a little lowbrow, but
it's something different. I mean, again, there's been risk takers over the years who have done things that have made differences that have been positive.
It's been successful.
So, and Billy Corgan is known for being a little, different anyway. Billy Corgan isn't a standard, regular whatever type of person. He doesn't conform to the way that everything is. So that's the Smashing Pumpkins music kind of represents that counterculture, and so does his kind of philosophical way about himself. So that's why I think Billy Corgan's an interesting character, and that's why I can kind of see where he's coming from and think that he's got some potentially cool ideas that are different. I mean, you got to try something different. And if TNA is going to be something that isn't WWE, then, you know, again, having these things could be great or could be, like you said, cause destruction. It could be great or awful. It just depends on what direction it goes in, the way that it's executed. And again, it's going to depend on how the people react. And like I said, the transgender thing may be too big of an umbrella, but then again, it also may open up a new door and be something different. You know, I mean, maybe it will. I don't know. I want to stay optimistic about it. I really do.
Okay, and we will be watching, or at least I know Charlie, he's not going to be. But
No.
I don't know. I'll give you something that you may be interested in now. We're going to talk about New Day now. So, if you watch Monday Night Raw, you saw the very surprising appearance of New Day in the opening segment of the show, and they competed in the tag team match versus the number one contenders. Two people are the number one contenders, but yeah, they competed in a tag team match versus the contenders for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and they actually won that match, and we saw them celebrating all throughout the night because they were talking about that power of positivity, POP, hold it down. So Charlie, are you holding it down on the New Day? Power of positivity. You buy or sell?
I'm buying. These guys are fucking funny. And the only thing that I would like is Big E needs to get a little less preachery. That's the only last thing they need to kick out of the gimmick. Mm-hmm. But I thought the opening segment had fresh faces. Thought it was great. The match, very good. I thought them on the mic, they were classic heels. Like, they were bad jokes and all, and they were laughing at their own jokes, and they weren't funny at all, and it was just classic heel stuff. You know, stuff that heels have been missing in wrestling. You know, heels in wrestling sometimes they get a little too smart, or they tell jokes that are a little too funny, and that doesn't work. You know, yeah. So Big E and them coming out, and, you know, making the worst jokes you ever heard, and then, you know, running around in circles like, oh, he fucking got him. You know, great. It's great stuff.
And celebrating the win.
And Randy were great with the
celebrating the win all night.
Like and 2 hours later. They're still just like, yeah.
2 hours later, they were still like, yes.
I mean, because they did, like, tag team champions, they beat the contenders for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I'd say that that's worth celebration. And I say that this new evolution of New Day, that's worth celebration as well. I've had my issues with them in the past, and I've been very vocal about that, but I have really enjoyed what WWE has done with this slow rollout of the New Day for the New Day. And I think that now that we see what they are settled in and what they have become, I think that it's awesome. I didn't know what the hell was going on that opening segment on Raw, but I just know that I loved it and it was awesome. So I'm buying the hell out of the New Day now.
Their energy level is like over 9,000. I mean, these guys are just like
Charlie doesn't get that one either.
They are all in, man, and I love that. Okay, now I was the one out of the three of us who had the most faith in New Day. I admitted that I didn't love what they were doing, but I still like the talents that were in the group, and if they're used right, then maybe things can go well. And it took terrible stuff to make great stuff, and they've done this many times before, and
they turned chicken shit into chicken salad.
They really did here, and they did an amazingly well job. So again, here's where the credit is due part on WWE's creative for taking something that was legitimately not liked because of how dumb it was, and then making it into something that is crazy entertaining and really good. And these three guys deserve something really good because they're all talented in their own way. And I think that the way that they deliver their promos is good. The interviews backstage, the way that they're featuring, they're making them feel like they're an important tag team with the gold, too. Like, they actually feel important. And the way that they were featured in that opening segment was excellent. So I love this. Buy the hell out of it.
Yes, and to Justin, who's talking trash about the New Day, as Orbit says in the chat, clap away the hate. Clap it away. Like, just get rid of that. There's no need for that. So, we're going to revisit the topic that we discussed at the beginning of the show, and we're going to, like, put a laser focus on one person in particular, and that person is Dean Ambrose. Now, we all know Dean Ambrose, he's not in the most prominent position in WWE right now, and he's had some issues with the way, or at least we have had some issues with the way that he has been booked in WWE, but now he stands as someone who will be facing off against 3 other men for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of a pay-per-view. So, with all of that being said, knowing that Dean Ambrose was kind of like catapulted to the point that he's at right now as a contender for the World Championship, do you buy or sell Dean Ambrose's place in this match?
I'm going to tentatively sell, because I really liked the stuff on Monday. I thought everything went well. I have one major issue with this match.
Is the issue that you have the same issue that I have?
I don't want Dean and Roman in the same match.
Yes! That's it! Oh my god! Like,
I just don't know where they're going to go with that. It just doesn't seem like it's a fit. It does not working for me. I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling somebody turning heel possibly, and maybe them eventually building to a Shield triple threat, something like that. But I just don't. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. The Fatal 4-Way allows them to not really interact, which at the end of the day could be probably the best way to go. But yeah, everything was great except for that cloud of why Roman and Dean. Why I just don't want them in the match together. It's just.
Yeah, like, this is going to be the first, like, if it actually happens well, I'm not even going to necessarily say if it actually happens. This is going to be the first time since the Shield has broken up, or since their inception, that these guys have been on opposite sides in a match. And that's going to be weird to face that at Payback, when I was thinking in my head, if this actually happens, it needs to be about no one else besides those 3 guys. And I can say that I enjoyed how everything played out on Raw. It was very entertaining. However, this move to add Dean Ambrose to the match on 2 sides, it's like, I don't know, because you have the issue that we talked about, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. What the hell is going to happen there? And then secondly, Dean Ambrose himself. He's not in any kind of coveted position in WWE, but he was thrust into this scene. And I guess on that sense, I can kind of understand it, because Kane put him into this match to screw with Seth Rollins. And I mean, if you're going to add somebody to the match and put more pressure on Rollins as champ for him to, rise to the occasion and perform, who else but Dean Ambrose? So in that case, like, I think that maybe this is just me reading into it too much, but I think that some way, somehow, they need to acknowledge the fact that Dean Ambrose, should I say, doesn't belong there and is there for a specific purpose. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, acknowledge his position as a spoiler, that he's just there to fuck shit up. Maybe that's what I need to see.
Yeah, I think that kind of is the point without it being, like, actually said. But, I mean, in terms of, like, crowd reaction, we all know that Dean Ambrose is absolutely ready to main event in terms of crowd reaction.
Get out of jail free card.
Oh, people love this guy. And the pop he got when he won that match on Raw is evident of that. And I mean, honestly, this guy is as over as anybody. But in terms of the story, yeah, he's not ready for, say, a title match. But at least it's not like a one-on-one situation. Because if it was just a flat-out singles match, him and Rollins, you'd be like, he was ready. That would be like Ryback winning that triple threat #1 contenders match from a couple of months ago, or a month and a half ago, whatever it was. It would have been like that. Like, wait, what? Why is he facing Rollins in a one-on-one match, So at least it isn't anything like that. It was just an opportunity to be a part of the match, to thus make it tougher. So I think that's really the story they are going with here. And I mean, anybody who's watched this product consistently is going to understand that Ambrose is not winning the title here. But the fact that he's in it, I think, is just awesome. And I look so much more forward to this main event because he's in it. I'm not saying I didn't like the main event at all without him in it, but I like it better with him in it, no question about it. And I think that's how we should all just be a little, I don't want to be all get out of jail free here, but I mean, it's kind of applying fairly well to this situation, and it's making me just say, well, I don't really care, damn it. Ambrose did a main event, and I think it'll be a better match because he's in it.
So you're
See, that's the
buying
one
it.
thing that I would say. The one redeeming here is that it's a new face, something different, and there's a lot of weird unpredictability and dynamic that can go into this. But at the end of the day, I feel like, I see these three guys in the ring. Not only are Roman and Dean best friends, adversaries, and they've only got 1 week to build that up, which is another thing I'm not a huge fan of. But you've got those three guys. How do you do that? And Randy is there to make this not the Shield triple threat. Is basically the reason why he's there. So it's a weird dynamic.
Do you think that this takes a little bit of the mystique away from that match when they eventually do it? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm talking all of this shit like, they're putting Roman and Dean in the match together, and that kind of kills it a little bit. But I'm telling you, whenever that match happens, I'm still going nuts. Like,
yeah, so there's that. But I think they'll do it in a way
it's just
where
I want to see that first time. I want that to be the first time.
I think they'll tease it, which leads you to believe, like, when are they building up to that, and when will that happen? And it's obviously sooner than we were hoping. Just a kick in the frickin' right in the ass.
Okay, and one hope that I would have, and this isn't me like hating on Dean Ambrose. Of course, you guys should know at this point, like, that's my homeboy. I hope that whatever happens with this match, Dean Ambrose isn't just at that level when it ends. Like, I need to see you put in the work for Dean Ambrose. I need to see him work his way up to that level. So I understand it playing into the storyline in this particular match, but I don't want to see Dean Ambrose be a main eventer after this unless you actually get up off of your asses and put some effort into booking him, getting him those wins, and solidifying his place there. I don't want him, like, I understand now. I'll let you pass go. I'll let you collect your $200, but put in that work. If that's where you want Dean Ambrose to be, then you put in the effort to make sure that he stays there.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Alrighty, guys, that's it for Buy or Sell. We're going to move on to our final segment now. I teased this at the beginning of the show. This is the debut of a new segment here on PWF Empire Live. This is the Swerve. I guess that's what we're calling it now until we stick on an official title. But this is basically going to be us giving you guys a story from the past week in wrestling and letting you know whether we're going to turn face or heel on that story. And we're going to kick this off with my little news item. And I am turning face on the WWE documentary that aired on ESPN Tuesday night. It was called E60 behind the scenes or behind the curtain for WWE, whatever it was called. I don't know, but I just know that it was awesome. I loved it. I love the fact that this kind of plays into what we were talking about on the show last week with Lucha Underground, how we get to know these characters and know their motivations and know why it is that they're doing the things that they do in the ring. WWE kind of circumvented kayfabe with this documentary, and they showed us the motivations of the real people behind the characters. Adam Rose, Xavier Woods, and Corey Graves. They gave us features on those three guys, and plus they gave us insight on what actually happens in creative team meetings down there in NXT. If you guys have not watched it, I implore you, you need to watch this documentary because it was truly awesome, and it is definitely worthy of a face turn. Evan, what do you got? Are you turning face or heel this week?
I'm gonna turn heel. I don't really. Okay, it's kind of turning face because. Okay, all right. So Vince Russo says a bunch of bullshit about Sami Zayn, and
let's go to exactly what he said here.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's talking about Sami Zayn and his appearance on Monday Night Raw, his debut on the main roster. He talked about how everyone was thinking that this episode of Raw was great. Everyone is running on the defense of WWE, claiming that Raw was a great show on Monday. Why was it a great show in their opinion? Simply because an NXT wrestler that they all mark out for, Sami Zayn, made his surprise appearance on WWE's premiere show. I can only imagine when Sami got introduced by Bret Hart and came as a surprise through the Raw entrance to the internet wrestling community, it was the equivalent of Jesus himself showing up unannounced to the Sea of Galilee. But to the casual wrestling fan, nobody cared. To them, this was a jobber and nothing more. So they indeed turned back to hoops, meaning that the Raw rating went down. Raw is a television show, and Sami Zayn is not a television star, nor will he be anytime soon. Sami is an exceptional wrestler on a wrestling show, and the only people who care about him are the diehard wrestling fans who are looking for 5-star matches that the massives don't give a shit about.
Yeah, his grammar is great on that last one. But anyway,
it's better than him
he
saying
meant masses.
it,
Okay.
Bro.
yeah, he was like, "Oh, can we have another reverse battle royal right after this, please?" If it's anybody who watched TNA in the old days when they literally had a reverse battle royal where people
bunch of people who were unable to get into the ring, including Sanjay Dutt, who had no one to stop him from getting in the ring, so he had to pretend like he climbed up on the apron and just fell off.
Like, literally, these are the matches that this guy has put on, and the ideas that this guy has come up with. Now, again, it's not to completely dump on Vince Russo, because he's not a complete moron all the time, but he's done some really stupid things over the years, and to say that so soon with Sami Zayn is like, that's like saying that about Daniel Bryan in like 2010 and be like, oh, Daniel Bryan is only loved by the masses, or not loved by the masses, he's only loved by the hardcore fans, but then he became the yes man and everybody loves Daniel Bryan. So it's like, why can't Sami Zayn be loved by the masses? Like, who is going to guarantee that can't happen if it isn't there, like, who says that? And not only that, but all of us are saying, like, oh man, this guy is the exemplary babyface, whatever. Why not? What if he's given the right gimmick? I think anybody, if given the right gimmick, can be a big deal to the masses. It's not about, where you've come from. Daniel Bryan is the best example of that, in my opinion. So, I don't know if it's turning face or heel, but Vince Russo, please stop.
I think that was, I mean, like, with the premise of the show, like, if you're saying something positive, that's face, something negative, that's heel. With the premise of this segment, it was heel, but because it was Vince Russo, like,
you're the anti-hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, what do you got?
You're heel in the script, but in reality, we all know what the deal is, But
are you turning face or heel this week?
I'm going heel, and maybe I'm going anti-hero babyface too, because Michelle motherfucking Beadle, after the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, Triple H showed his support for Mayweather, as he always does, and Mrs. Beadle, ESPN employee, decided she was going to take this time to rip Triple H for supporting someone with a history of domestic violence and turn in her WWE fan card and make this huge deal out of the thing. This bitch is a fucking hypocrite. She's been a fan for God knows how long. This is nothing fucking new. Triple H and Floyd Mayweather. And she goes, oh, sometimes it just takes something to see the light. Like, fuck off. So I'm sure you were sitting there, WrestleMania 24, when the motherfucker appeared and had a fucking match. You were also following Chad Johnson on Twitter, who headbutted his wife. You work with people on a daily basis for covering the fight on HBO and working for ESPN that have a history of domestic violence. Like, she's just hypocritical, stupid idiot, and for her to pick this fight now is just unbelievably stupid. And I just don't get it.
I mean, I could bring up something else that makes her a hypocrite, but I'm not even going to go ahead and do that. Because, that's my homeboy as well. But, yeah. Like, talking about being fans and showing support for people who had issues with domestic violence, like...
Yeah, I mean, she had a little bit of a point with that, but to turn in your fan card now, like, really? And this came after, specifically she was denied credentials from Mayweather's camp, so she couldn't get into the fight because she's spoken out against him as a result of those domestic violence charges, which is bullshit, and I think she's just all full of piss and vinegar, and now all of a sudden just has to go, oh, well, turn in my fan card, anybody who likes the guy. So, I think it's hypocritical. There's a lot of stuff that, isn't good look for her. Granted, Triple H supporting the guy is not a good look for him as well. But at the end of the day, her turning in her fan card, she's an idiot.
I wonder if she's going to cancel her WWE network so she won't be able to watch any more Stone Cold matches on the network anymore.
Well, didn't she also turn in her CM Punk fandom card as well? Wasn't there an altercation with her and AJ Lee too? Like this lady has been all over the place with WWE, man. But no, I cannot believe that she would say something like that when ESPN has been all over Floyd Mayweather too. Like, it's just it's so amazing the way that.
I wonder how differently it would have worked out though if they didn't ban her from the fight.
Oh, that statement never gets said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because the worst thing you can do is pick a fight that you can't fully support. Like, I understand you have a job at ESPN. There are things you have to do to, that's your job, so you have to work with those people. But at the end of the day, when you're following people athletes on Twitter who have done it, when you're, associating yourself with a million people who have done it, don't go on Twitter and leave some kind of campaign because of this, because you look like a fucking idiot.
And that's the bottom line, as Charlie said so. I'd like to thank you guys for...
Shattering glass.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of PWF Empire Live. The Sunday after next is Payback, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So next week we will be on right after Monday Night Raw on PWFEmpire.com to present our WWE Payback 2015 preview. We're going to be going over all of the matches on that show, and we would love it if you guys tune into that. And also make sure you tune into PWF Empire Anarchy, the end of an era, this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on PWFEmpire.com.
Content
Anything?
Wazoo.
Yes.
And you're going to have a heck of a story from me about this very episode right here. I'm just going to tease that.
Okay. Wonder what that's going to be. So, I guess you guys have to watch to find out. On behalf of all of my co-hosts, Evan and Charlie, I am Jay. Catch you next week. PWFEmpire.com. Peace out.